Hello, welcome back. Time now for our culture section, and I'm joined now by Sylvia, a book critic from Paris's famous Shakespeare and Company bookshop. Hello there.
Hi.
You're going to start us off by talking to us about some of the upcoming literary highlights of 2013, I believe. What have we got to look forward to?
Well, we have a lot to look forward to. I haven't brought them with me, of course, because they're not yet published, the ones I'm talking about. So what we have coming up in February, we have My Brother's Book by Maurice Sendak. This is the last book that he wrote before he sadly passed away last May. And he's most famous, of course, for his magical Where the Wild Things Are. This book is dedicated to his brother, Jack, whom he credits for his love of writing and drawing. And it's a really moving story about two brothers who are separated when the brightest star in the sky smashes.
Okay.
The next one is in spring. We have a new essay collection. I can't wait for this one, from the hysterically funny David Sedaris. His first book, Barrel Fever, was a big hit, and since then he just seems to be getting funnier and funnier. This one is a series of travel essays, which is not immediately obvious considering the title is Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls.
Yeah, that's a bit of a... doesn't really give it away, does it?
No, it doesn't. There's going to be a lot of interest in the next one. Dr. Sleep is the sequel to Stephen King's terrifying and hugely popular The Shining. And it's coming out just after summer, and I think people are both dreading it and looking forward to it at the same time. It focuses on the story of Dan Torrance, who was a boy in The Shining, and he's now middle-aged and working in a hospice, and it promises to be every bit as chilling as the first one.
All right, I'll give that a miss then.
Yeah. And the next one is a really unusual book. It's called Why Not? It's a beautiful book by Philippe Petit, who shot to fame when he walked the tightrope between the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. And this book, Why Not, not as in like tie a knot, is a compendium of all the different knots that he has used to rig his tightropes. And there's even a little bit of rope in there if you want to try tying some yourself. So that's an unusual one.
Okay.
And Julian Barnes, lastly, has a new book coming out this year, and it's already been hailed as a masterpiece. It is a book in 3 parts. It's called Levels of Life. The first part is historical, which focuses on ballooning in 19th century France. The second is fiction, which is a romance between Sarah Bernhardt and Frederick Burnaby. And the third is a memoir, which is a really poignant account of losing his wife. I'm particularly excited about this one because I loved his book, The Sense of an Ending, which won the Booker Prize in 2011.
That was a great book.
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of what 2012 had to offer, what were your favourites?
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about these two. Well, the first one is A Hologram for the King by Dave Eggers, with this extraordinary cover, which was designed by the author himself. He's pretty much the coolest author out there. He got everyone's attention with his memoir, A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius.
Okay.
And since then, he's written tons of acclaimed fiction and non-fiction titles. He's also the founder of McSweeney's, an amazing independent publishing house. He also set up 826 National, which is a non-profit writing and tutoring center for children. And on top of that, he has a series called Voice of Witness, which raises awareness of social injustice. So he's like an incredibly prolific, impressive, inspiring person.
And he is, of course, known for basing his stories on real-life events. Is that the case with this book?
No, this one actually is very much fictional. It explores the changing global marketplace and hidden aspects of life in Saudi Arabia.
Sounds like some pretty serious topics there.
It is, but it's, as always with Eggers, it's very engaging and fun to read. This is the story of Alan Clay, who's a divorced senior salesman who's sent by his company to Saudi Arabia to present a hologram for a communication device to the King Abdullah, for this new city called King Abdullah's Economic City. And when he gets there, he arrives, and the city, he realizes, is actually still very much theoretical. He arrives, there's a canal, there's 1 or 2 glass buildings, 1 or 2 palm trees in the middle of a desert. And King Abdullah, no one knows when he's going to come to the city. So he's endlessly waiting for the king. And during this wait, he meets many different interesting people. And those encounters give the book its kind of lightness and humor.
Okay, well, it sounds like the book has a message then.
Well, it does, but I wouldn't say there's one message. I'd say that it definitely explores the complications created by global capitalism. And obviously, there's also the backdrop of the economic crisis to the story. And also, there are the funniest jokes I've ever read in a book in this book. Yeah, because Alan Clay is always telling jokes.
Okay, sounds a good one to read. What about other favourites for 2012 then, Sylvie?
Well, this was my absolute favourite book, probably ever, definitely for 2012. Wow. I know this is a big one. It's called Why Be Happy When You Could Be Normal. Brilliant title. It's by Jeanette Winterson. And I'm sure a lot of people have either heard about this book or even read it because it's had a huge amount of success since it was released last year. It's wonderful. So, but she basically, her first book, which is Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, that was it's a fiction, it's autobiographical, which she wrote when she was just 25. Yeah. And is partly inspired by her own life. It's a story of a young girl who grows up in North England with a kind of religious fanatic or mother. And it's a story of survival.
Okay. So in a way, this memoir tells the true story behind the novel.
Yeah, I'd say so. Although Jeanette is really careful to talk about life and memory as part fact, part fiction. In this book, we follow Jeanette as she grows up with her adoptive parents and in this very closed religious household with a mother who would lock her on the doorstep outside for an entire night as punishment. We see her, in the face of that cruelty and coldness and madness, we see her strength, her defiance, her love of books, her love of language, and also her search for her biological mother, which happens towards the end of the book.
Okay, earlier you mentioned that she used books to get through these horrendous episodes in her childhood. Do books feature then in this novel?
Yeah, totally. And as a bookseller, that's one of the themes that spoke to me the most. When she grew up, there were 6 books in the household, and her mother would read the Bible every night to the family for half an hour. And she basically gradually, through literature, she discovers that there's a world beyond her doorstep. And through those books, she finds company, she finds comfort and solace, and it relieves her of her isolation. It's truly a book. I would go as far as saying that this book will change your life. Wow. It is that inspiring. Despite having faced all the difficulties and depression that she faced, her love for life is stronger. Her curiosity and understanding of subjects like mothers, time, home, and most importantly, love is utterly inspiring.
Well, that's quite a recommendation you've given us there, Sylvia. Thank you very much.
Thank
Sylvia
you.
there with our culture section. Okay, time for a quick break. Stay tuned, though. More news coming up.